Hello, welcome to Coffee Talk. I'm Brad Barnett, President and CEO of the Kerrville Area Chamber of Commerce, and this podcast lets us tell you about some of our members. And today we're going to be talking about things that are uniquely Kerrville. I think every community likes to think they're unique in their own way, but the Hill Country, we are kind of the heart of the Hill Country. So this morning I've got Debbie and Becky. Debbie is with the Coming King Foundation. Give me the whole title so we get it correctly.
The Coming King Sculpture Prayer Garden.
Okay. And then Becky is with our Nature Center.
Riverside Nature Center.
Riverside Nature Center. Again, both of those, if you love to be outside, don't miss those because we have a beautiful river trail that we'll talk about a little bit. Debbie, tell us a little bit about the prayer garden and the empty cross. I mean, it is a beautiful facility. As a former Baptist minister, obviously, I love getting a chance to go up there. And Max and just the whole team has just done a phenomenal job. So give a little bit of history about the prayer garden.
Sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, the Coming King Sculpture Prayer Garden is an outdoor art park that is open to the public. It's open 7 days a week, including all holidays. The only time we have closed is through Snowvid when we had ice up there. But it's free to come. You don't have to pay anything. It's free admission, and it's 24.5 acres of sculpture garden, and the main sculptures are all in bronze or Corten steel. And it has several. It is Christian in nature. It is all depicting different aspects of Jesus, and but it is absolutely stunning. It has beautiful flowers. It is a garden. It's a place where people can come and find rest. It's a place where people come and find healing and restoration, and it is a place of people just can come and just feel the presence of God up there. So.
And I love if you're going through and you see the rocks, you can actually do a prayer on one of the rocks.
Absolutely. There are blank rocks up there, and you can write prayers on the rocks and put them in the prayer rock paths. There is, when you come into the entrance, you drive up to the top, and there is a scripture path. And there's several sculptures along the path, and on the path itself are 77 scripture tiles written in German, English, and I was going to say Hebrew, but it's not Hebrew, and Spanish. So bring your Spanish friends as well, because they can come and receive up there. And it's just a place to really, it's a time of reflection and just a time of beauty. Honestly, it really is stunning up there, and it's changed a lot from when I first started working there. We actually have people that come from all over the world just to come and experience the garden.
And speaking of gardens and being outside, Becky, tell us a little bit about the history and what you guys do at the Riverside Nature Center.
Sure. We are lucky as a community to be able to have, such a wonderful outdoor venues, throughout our community, and Riverside Nature Center being one of them. Right here at the heart of the downtown, we're situated right at the confluence of Town Creek and the Guadalupe River. So pretty special real estate, right there. Riverside Nature Center has been around for about 30 years. Had our beginnings with our wonderful founder, Susan Sander. Many of our community know her still. She has moved on. She's no longer in town, but has left a legacy at the Nature Center. You were talking about, Debbie, the gardens there. People come for peace and kind of just that mindfulness. We find that a lot at the Nature Center as well. There's I guess we're a resource for our community in many different aspects. People come to us for education on land stewardship, wildlife, plants, all of these things, but they also come to us for, they may have a need. They need an outlet. Or they just need a nice quiet place to come and be. And so I think we serve many different needs in the community. But yeah, Riverside Nature Center is a wonderful place for I like to say walker to walker for the ages, because we've got things for our little types in the community, and our seniors. So if there's something, we never stop learning, and so our programs are geared towards that, just to have that opportunity to continue your natural environmental education throughout your life. So yeah, it's a pretty special place. And our gardens in the back is a wonderful little arboretum of hill country trees, and of course native plants. So I think we boast about 80 maybe different species of trees and shrubs, and countless. I mean, it's 300 plus different species of wildflowers. So, and right now, it's a little hot. and the plants are starting to go, okay, it's time. That's the beauty of native plants, that we're going to go dormant. And so things are just starting to go, okay, we've had these lovely rains, but we're gonna kind of start shutting down a little bit. So I think we're in store for a pretty dry, hot summer, and so the flowers are getting ready for that. Last week it was a lush green, beautiful, but things are starting to seed up right now. So it's a little different look, but still a wonderful, vital, environment. Folks need to remember that even though the flowers are turning, a little brown, maybe they're starting to look a little crispy, but the birds are loving it, because the seeds are ripening. And so this is the time, don't mow them, don't knock them down, because our insects and our birds are taking, and small mammals are taking advantage of that. This is a great, bountiful time for them.
And I think that's a good thing, is really educating people, because as you drive along Harper, there's signs up about not taking the wildflowers out. So that's a good education piece. Since people like to be in the outdoors, I think something else both your venues have in common is a great place if somebody just wants to get out and walk and enjoy nature. At the Nature Center, it's one of the stops on our 6 Mile River Trail.
Right. We were actually the first trailhead. When first section of going from Riverside Nature Center down to Louise Hayes Park. And so for a while, the only trailhead, but now one of many, which is fantastic. The River Trail is just a fabulous extension in the city.
And it's one that we hear a lot, that people come in, visit, and discover it, especially adults that live in the city. So, and I know you guys have out at the Prayer Sculpture Garden that y'all have. How much walking trails do y'all have out there?
So we don't have trails like at the center, but we do have a couple. I don't even think it's a full mile, and it's still under construction, but it's up and coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, good views whether you're down by the river or up on the hill. So that's really talking about the garden. Can you give? Heard the interesting story about how it all came to be and the prayer meeting, so you can kind of let our listeners and viewers know how God's hand worked to make your all's facility happen.
Sure. So Max Greiner Jr., whose main occupation has been an artist, and he does bronze sculptures. He started off doing animalscapes, actually, and then went on to doing Christian. Mainly, I think his first one was Jesus washing Peter's feet, and these are, large scale bronzes. And Max had a vision. He was actually called out by a speaker, and he was prophesied over that he was going to have this garden, and that it was going to be built up on the hills. And so he got this, and then he had a vision of it. And then for a while, it took a while to find exactly where the garden was going to go. He needed to find the land, and he needed to find how is he going to pay for all this. And so it kind of started with seeing the land where it is right off of Interstate 10. It is an iconic symbol with the big 77-foot 7-inch cross that you can walk into. But he was actually at the Lowe's, which is across the street from the highway, and saw the land and said, "Oh my goodness, that's it." So come to find out, the man that had that land said he would sell it to Max and to start his foundation at for $500,000. So Max was like, "Okay, great, it's for sale." But now, okay, how do we get $500,000? And so he went up with a group of people to pray as to how they're going to do this. And he didn't know it at the time, but one of the people that was with him was an heir to Hallmark cards. And he didn't know that this man was actually asking the Lord to give him confirmation if he was to donate the money to buy the land. And so Herschel, his name is Herschel, he said, "Lord, if I'm supposed to donate the money to buy this land for this amazing vision, then when we're done praying, I'd like to see a hawk flying above me." And so they were done praying. He looked up, and there were a bunch of hawks flying above him. And these were not turkey vultures. Those of us that live in the hill country are very familiar with turkey vultures. These were actual hawks, and it's very unusual to see hawks flying together in groups. That's not a normal occurrence. So it was what he needed so that he knew this was actually from God, saying that this is going to be the beginning of purchasing this land. So he called Max the next day and gave him money to buy the land. So this has been a place of miracles from the very beginning, and it's a place where miracles still happen today. And Max, I will say, Max is the main sculptor up there, but there are 3 artists that are represented in the garden. Max is all of the main sculptures on the main scripture path, and the path is in the shape of a cross on the ground. But he has the Fisher of Men and the Coming King, the cross, which you can see for miles, the 77-foot 7-inch core 10 steel cross, the Divine Servant, and the Great Commission. All done in bronze. Again, huge bronzes, and he's the main sculptor for all of those. And then we have Beverly Paddleford, who did the Hope sculpture, and it is a beautiful sculpture, and has brought so much life and hope for anybody who's lost a child. It really has been a place of healing. Because it's Jesus holding a little baby, and then he's got the mother's hand in his hand, and the mother sitting beside him, and it's just a beautiful sculpture. And then there's Beverly also did the Mary that's at the entrance, and it's a beautiful Mary. She's an older Mary holding a crown of thorns, and but Mary's at the entrance, and then we have a couple other sculptures at the entrance. David Broussard did the other 2 sculptures, the nails, giant nails in kind of a modern art that's at the entrance. And then he did a Star of David that is that also has a nail for every law in the Old Testament in the shape of as a cross on the side of the Star of David, representing that Jesus took every law in the Old Testament and made a way. So he did those 2 sculptures. So we have 3 artists represented in the garden. And but you really should come up and walk the scripture path. It is I think it's 300-foot path up at the top, and there's little meandering trails through there. It's all on crushed granite. It is wheelchair accessible. For the most part. I think that's one of the biggest questions we get is it wheelchair accessible? And We do only have porta pots right now, though, I will say, but they're very clean, and we do have something up there. But the goal is that we are a nonprofit organization, and the goal is to have a actual restroom building toward the entrance as we have donations that come in. And but it is a beautiful, beautiful place. And again, it's open 7 a.m. till 12 midnight. So even in these hot summer days, you can come in the evenings, and it is stunning up there because you have all the views of Kerrville, and you get the Texas sunsets that are just amazing in the Texas Hill Country, and just have a place to come in the evenings and bring a lunch, bring a dinner up there even, and just enjoy your time up there.
Yeah, beautiful views.
Yeah.
Well, something I think this is for both, and we'll start with Becky on this. Where you're educating the community, I'm sure there are needs, whether it's financial or volunteers. So talk about some of the ways people can support the Riverside Nature Center.
Oh, sure. Being a nonprofit, we're dependent on the generosity of our community. Member supported. We do offer memberships, and of course, any kind of donation based. But volunteers are our backbone. We're a very small staff. There's only myself and an assistant that are full time, and then everybody, 3 others are part time employees. So keeping of all the grounds, building maintenance, clerical, working on social media. This is all volunteer based, and so we put these programs on, these education programs, and so we're constantly looking for help, especially with the youth. You need those kid wranglers, and so and we also need folks that are willing to share their interests and their talents with both adults and youth. So volunteers we're always looking for assistance in that vein, but support comes in all different ways, so just coming, just visiting. We don't have an admission fee, so it is free to come to the Nature Center. Our visitor center houses some spectacular exhibits. Right now it's fossils, and it's a pretty amazing exhibit, and again, all volunteer driven. Our curator, Susan Longacre, for this exhibit, it happens to be a retired geologist, but she works in the gardens. And so, a little whisper in her ear, hey, interested in doing a fossil exhibit? She says, I'm on it. So it's again, gathering the talent and just the generosity of our community. But, donations, membership, being just involved in general, and volunteerism. Yeah.
Cool. That's good. Kind of the same thing, Debbie, with how do you support the foundation?
Yeah. So the one thing about the garden, it is non-denominational, and we are not a church. So we're not supported by a church. We're not supported by anything other than just generous donors, quite honestly. And we are also don't have an admission fee, but it is. I love the way you put it. It's people that come and volunteer, and it's people that have just fallen in love with the garden, and that have been touched and by the Lord, and just want to help see this place thrive and grow. And so we do have plans for other things coming, but it's all donors. It's all donors. We're not supported by the government or the city or anything. It really is just donor supported, and so every single bit is helpful.
Yeah.
Website has ways to donate, and the ComingKingFoundation.org. But honestly, God just provides. And it's amazing, how you get to the point where you're like, okay, well, Lord, and then He brings it. He just moves in people, and they donate. So, but we're the same as you. We're very small staff, very small.
Yeah.
It's mostly donor supported and volunteers, and we have volunteers that come and help out with the gardens, and so it's very helpful to have people invested that just want to come and be a part of it. So I love that. Yeah. We're both kind of in the same boat as far as that goes, but it works.
It does. It absolutely does.
Yeah, the challenges of running a nonprofit. So, so as we wrap up, kind of talking, two things that are obviously uniquely Kerrville. Is there anything for either venue that I have not touched on that we want to make sure that the viewers know?
Well, I just think Kerrville is unique in many, many ways, and of course, known for kind of an outdoor, destination. People, come for our beautiful, clean, river, and still pretty dark skies. Trying to preserve that wonderful heritage, that we have here, and I think that Riverside Nature Center embraces all of those things, and it's not often that you can go to a city or a town of our population and be able to find so many things like a nature center, and the gardens at the cross are vibrant theater scene and museums and just art, and so Kerrville in itself is just extremely unique and in its offerings, and I think that it all just kind of that wellspring of having a beautiful river go right through Kerrville has a lot to do with people that come in, but also what we can provide.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that too, and I love the Nature Center too, and I love the trails down there. I've walked them frequently, and love being a part of that as well. One other thing I would like to say is that we have events regularly up at the garden, and you can check the website calendar for any events that might happen up there. We have 2 eclipses coming to Kerrville in October 14th of this year, and then April 8th of next year, and we will have events for both of those, and getting ready to have a way for all of the people that are already coming to Kerrville to have a way to be a part of the community and be a part of what God is doing up there. And so you can look on the website at, again, www.thecomingkingfoundation.org and get that information off of our calendar. We have a calendar of events on there. We do have chaplains that are up in the garden. They're not on a set schedule, but they do come up regularly, and a lot more on the weekends, and when it's cooler too. They also don't like to come up there in the extreme heat of the day. But if you need prayer, if you need a listening ear, if you need someone to chat with, we have chaplains up there on a regular basis, and they wear a red apron, and they're easily identified up there as Coming King chaplains. And and we will also do baptisms up there. We have a baptismal fountain underneath the Coming King, so it's a place of just coming and experiencing God's presence up there. So,
well, I want to thank both of you for joining us today, and just encourage everybody to get out, experience things that are uniquely Kerrville, including the Riverside Nature Center, the Coming King Prayer Garden, Sculpture Garden. Again, both amazing facilities. And if you've got time to donate because you're retired or just want to get involved in the community, reach out to Becky or to Debbie. I'm sure they would be happy to have you come out and help with that. And we will see you next time on the Kerrville Area Chamber of Commerce Coffee Talk.